Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy New Year. And to many of you who we didn't see before, um, well, it's too late to say Merry Christmas, but Happy New Year. I'm your host, Lima McLeod, and my other co-host, Hadassah Charles McLeod. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. It feels so good to be back. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to all our usual viewers. Happy New Year. Happy 2022. We know we had a hard go at it last year, but we're hoping that we'll have a better year this year. Fingers crossed. Um, this will be like the new iteration of the show. It's now we're reverted back to Pep Talks in the morning. We felt that it was important for us to clearly define the show as a political show and really identify us as political talking heads for the Progressive Empowerment Party, and we didn't want to confuse our audience with the whole cut, pep, everything. So it's now a clear show under the Progressive Empowerment Party. So welcome everybody. It's good to have you back. Lems, how
Yes.
you doing? Happy New Year. Happy
Happy.
belated birthday as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am cool. But it seems already New Year, same issues, same problems, same
Mm-hmm.
mismanagement, same everything. Nothing has changed. I see the BTM is protesting right now, so if anybody has to leave, you know, careful heading into Port of Spain on the BTM highway there. Um, check for all those news um, pages to see if any updates before. And this is something that upsets me because something like this major will be going on our road, so they would block the roads, but there would be no news bulletin that comes across every radio station to let everybody know, or even GPS to let you know blockage ahead, use alternative routes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it you know it should stop whatever program is going on to let people know, hey, they blocked this road, so try alternative routes to get into Port of Spain.
Um,
Granted, Spain only has what, two or three routes, but
yeah,
four
yeah.
routes. Yeah.
There are not a lot of alternatives in terms of getting in or out of the city. But like I really feel for the plight of the people on Beatum. I think you were telling me before we went live that they're protesting for water.
Yeah, apparently. In
And
2022 already.
in 2022. And usually our response as a country is to react with fear when it comes to protests that break out on the Beatum. But I kind of feel like my whole attitude is like shifting where that is concerned, because these are some of the most neglected people. They live in squalor, they live in the worst smelling part of the country as
Mhm.
well. They don't have a lot of opportunities, of course, when it comes to jobs and things like that. And
The
they are
area is a
PNM
hotspot.
stronghold. It is a
It's also a
hotspot.
hotspot. And
They
they caught between two other hotspots.
Yes,
Because Beacom is here, then Sealots, and then John John.
they in bad judgment loyally continue to vote for the PNM, and they get nothing out of it. And it's really sad that this early in the year that these people have to take to the streets
Mm-hmm.
and be protesting for basic necessities, something as basic and as necessary and as important as water. And it will be nice if at some point when this happens that we don't react with fear, but we actually stand up with these people,
And
because
that's the
we
sad
need to
part.
come together. Yeah, we need to come together as a country, because we need to start to save the people in Beatum are having trouble for water. that concerns me too. I have water in my taps or I have water in my tank, but this should be a problem. Everybody should be able to have access to basic necessities, a roof over their head, something to eat, water, the ability to go to school and get an education, to find a job. Basics.
Yeah, yeah. And that is what I keep telling people. The point of it is you're supposed to stand in solidarity with your neighbors, because how could you be okay? Yeah, well, that's not my problem. I have water. Yeah, yeah, water now. But when is your turn? Because this water problem is a nationwide thing. It's not just
Yeah,
it's not just the poor areas or the
yeah.
undermanaged areas. It is everywhere. However, the response is what is different. Because I know people from Westmoreland and Glencoe who have called WASA and they turn off water from other areas to make sure they get.
To make sure they get water. Yeah.
And WASA technicians have told me this.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. We live in this very unequal society where if somebody dies from beatum, if police kill somebody from beatum, if they don't have water, the whole country kind of like turn their back um toward their suffering. And it has to change because we have to recognize that when the government sees that we start to care about the least among us and the problems and the plights and the situations of people in Beatum, Silots, and all these different areas becomes our problems and we start to take it personally, then they will have to start to listen to us.
Fitzgerald Hines probably wants another wetting.
I mean, is a classic case of what we always talk about here in the Progressive Empowerment Party about if something don't affect you, then you don't care. Case in point, New Year's, Faris Al takes to I think it was Twitter or Facebook to say that he spent most of the night trying to calm his dog, and as soon as the parliament reopens, he is going to be going to bring a
No, he said
bill.
he already drafted it.
Right.
While among all that fireworks and the dog
Yeah.
frantic, he
While
drafted
while
it.
calming the dog. Yeah, he is a magician. He's a magician. Right. And the thing, I was so upset about it. I actually wrote about it, and I was like, but people have been lamenting and calling for something to be done and talking about not just even our own personal animals. We talk about the fact that we have animals in the zoo and whatnot, and it's just so inhumane. And nothing has been done. And as soon as he gets a little puppy that he cares about, all of a sudden this is a priority.
Yeah, when I saw it, I shared it and I said it. I was like, because he now get a friggin' dog, he all of a sudden no fireworks is a problem. But all the animal groups have been calling for a ban
Yes,
on fireworks years now. Not just
yes,
yesterday, but
not
years
yes,
now.
it's true. Yes,
And I
yes.
still don't understand how Trinidadians could be so stupid to constantly purchase fireworks from this 1%. Now, it is illegal to import fireworks for retail. They're supposed to only import it for the parades that we have or any
Yeah.
government funded thing like that, right? But you have it and you have a tent everywhere and you selling these things and there is no safety requirement, no instructions on where you're supposed to be able to do these fireworks, in what parameter of residential area. When you're doing fireworks for Independence Night, fire service has to be involved. The
It's
public
true.
health inspectors also are supposed to be involved, as well as police. You leaving something as dangerous as that in the hands of uneducated people, untrained people, to go and do whatever they want. And
Which is what was which why it was very confusing to me, because I was like, so he is going to what, he's going to draft some type of legislation to regulate the use of fireworks. And I was like, but isn't this illegal? Isn't it illegal to bring into the country, and thus illegal for you to purchase it as an ordinary citizen? I really didn't understand it, and I'm looking to see how it's going to go, and if they're going to find all kind of ways to do it so that
well, it's not going to
whoever.
go anywhere because as it is right now, Stuart responded and said he wants fireworks banned. And I actually I'm shocked he came
You're
out with
shocked?
something so serious and so against the 1% because it's a 1% who bringing in the fireworks and
Yes,
making the
I
sale.
know that, but this is what I'm saying. You know, somehow they always find a way to find loopholes to make sure that their people continue to win. And I wanted to see what was going to come of it, if they were going to find a ways to sidestep it or do it in a way where it's, you could still purchase it and
Where
it's
it
still
come
the
out
same.
like the pepper spray bill that he come up with, which makes absolutely no sense. But and after all of that, then he opened public consultation. So I was like, but idiot, aren't you supposed to open the public consultation first, then see what people want, then draft the bill? How you know what to draft if you don't know what the public want?
What the concerns are. Yeah. What the concerns are. And I mean, from my observation, it seems that most people are, they are tired, they're fed up of it, and they are looking for a total ban.
Which
And people
which
are not
it
looking
kinda
for
is.
loopholes.
No, people don't want that. But the thing about it is, there's alternatives to it. There are silent fireworks that are sold internationally. So why he choose to bring the noisy, reckless ones?
Because
Bring the
maybe
silent
it's
ones.
cheaper.
Yeah, but then you don't care about the animals and nature, the environment, or any kind of thing.
No, and you have an opportunity to make a piece of money. My whole thing is that, as like you were saying, is that they have so much support. So many people go and line up to buy their fireworks every Christmas into New Year's. Like if they don't have dogs too, it's only, I guess, non-dog owners who just go and buy fireworks, because no right thinking pet owner who love their animals going to do that.
I know people who have dogs who bought fireworks. Some people just think it's a dog, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not only the dogs, it's cats, the elderly, small children. My son don't like fireworks at all.
Yeah.
He can't
Yeah.
stand the noise of it at
Too
all, at all,
much.
at all.
And then it's gone for so long,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
And then mixed in with the fireworks is gunshots in some areas.
It's true. It's a
Like my
lot.
area.
And it's
I heard
overwhelming to
gunshots
the
and I was
animals.
like, wow. Yeah, but I was reading up on it. It affects bees, birds, the zoo right there. It will affect every single one of those animals. Every
Yeah.
single one.
Yeah. Well, let's see what is happening. And I mean, Stuart Young surprised me there, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's just more posing. Um, unless he has turned a new leaf films.
Nah,
What if
let's not go.
what
Let's
if
not take it too far, please, Hadassah. Please.
what if what if his New Year's resolution is to be a better MP and a better government minister? What if he wants to do better?
Let's let's not go too far, please. Like you on some of that 1% white powder or something. That mm-mm.
Oh my
because
God.
first of all, if he was, then those people whose houses burned down in Quarry Street, he would have gone there with all the documents from social development and all the self-help
Yeah, for
groups
them to get
for
grants and
them to get
everything.
all the things. So they now don't have to find out where they're supposed to go, what they're supposed to do. They are supposed to think. And it's either he go with all the documents or you go with the social development minister and you get stuff started organizing for them. Whether it is, all right, is it that you want, now is a perfect opportunity to see if those people want to be relocated or if they want to rebuild. If they want to be relocated, because let's say it's 20 people who homeless, right? Five homes.
Hmm.
Five homes, 20 people. Some
Wow.
other people probably living in more than in the same house with other people because they can't afford, So now is the perfect time to sort out a HDC house for people. And when I say sort out, people just feel you're getting the HDC house for free. No, you actually have to pay for the HDC house still. But HDC is supposed to be way cheaper than mortgage finance and the banks and the credit unions and those places. So those HDC payments supposed to be less than $1,000, right? And I know people
Supposed to
will
be.
jump at that opportunity to get an apartment, right?
Yeah.
There
Supposed
are
to be.
some inside those Shafford courts and stuff that are damaged and not being utilized. AGC is supposed to be going back to all those apartments now to see, right, what needs to be fixed and done over. So, right, those people get damaged. Look, two apartments right there. Or you can stay there, pay the rent for whatever,
People
and make up
relocating.
your
Yeah.
mind within a time period as to either you want to go back to Quarry Street or you're staying there. You can't have both.
Yeah.
This is the things that they're supposed to be doing. I mean, this is what HGC was for. HGC was for the people who cannot afford a regular mortgage. We know that's not true anymore, right?
Yeah.
You gotta embarrass yourself on social media. Well, I want a house. It's 10 children and it's me alone. I want a house.
Yeah. Which is usually the cases that they respond to and how you get through with anything. Share the live, guys. Share the video. Um, let's get the conversation out there.
And the thing about
The,
it is that have so much HGC could do it because there are so many abandoned HGC houses as well. There are so
Mhm.
many that all you give out to your friends and family who renting and subletting. You're not supposed to do that. So they're supposed to really audit HGC and see all the houses that unfinished, abandoned, now started. And you shouldn't even start new projects until all those old ones completed, distributed, and so forth.
yeah. But I mean, me personally, I would like to see some type of balanced, fair, objective type of governance in
But they can't.
2022. I know
But they
that is a hope and a prayer, right? But this is what would happen under a sensible government that actually cared about housing
yeah.
for people who are earning lower incomes and things like that. If they really cared. Because I am of the firm belief that there is no reason for anybody in Trinidad to be living under the poverty line and to be without a home. If our country was governed properly
Yeah.
and if we had um, government ministers and leaders who really cared about stewarding the country and having just a sense of purpose and direction about where you want your people to go. And I was thinking about that as I was getting ready this morning. I wonder when Keith Rowley decided to run for prime minister, what his plans and goals were for Trinidad and Tobago.
It didn't
Because
include us. It included
to me,
himself and getting rich and just saying whatever he wants, doing whatever he wants. Because you see that. There has
because I
not been
don't
an ounce of
understand
change.
them. If you aspiring to that type of position, and it should be that you of yourself want to see better for your country. You want to be prime minister because you believe that you could do a better job than people who have gone before you, and you actually have a plan to take your nation forward.
Yeah, he went forward. He get, and then what supposed to make a huge difference as well is the fact that you get a reality check in Tobago. And you still ain't learn no lessons. The man has no learning curve, none. He's just one of those broken records that are gonna keep doing the same foolishness over and over, hoping for change. You see, after that, he hasn't really said anything. He is like he's still licking his wounds from that curtail. That Good Friday boboli beating PDP hit them.
No, but I think you're right, because if the intention really was to improve the standard of living, to reduce the cost of living, to introduce more technology, to bring more jobs, if that was the intention, then somehow he would have found the means to do it. He would have hired the people to do it. And like Philip said recently in a post, he said that you cannot be surprised that our COVID-19 response has been an abject failure, he said, because you have all the wrong people in the wrong positions, people who are not qualified to do the job. Case in point, Terrence Dialsing,
Yes.
who's not even a doctor. And then
No,
you're
no, don't
surprised.
even say not even a doctor. The man, he's not even a
A
pharmacist.
pharmacist. I know, I was trying to be nice.
No.
2022. um, and you cannot be surprised that things are literally falling apart all around us,
Yeah.
because one, you have people who they don't care, they are not qualified, they don't know what they are doing, and you have no plan. You don't audit them. They are not held accountable or
Accountable.
whatnot. Because even if you had no clue how to do a job, if you had a boss coming on your back and they want results or whatnot, you're going to find it, you're going to Google it, you're going to call somebody, you're going to do, you understand what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
whole, that whole, that the pressure or whatever
That
to
is why we
for
would
results,
say
it's
if
non-existent.
if Philip was in that position, you know everybody know what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to do it, and will be delivering because Philip will be last year.
It's true. It's true. It's
We
true.
just
I mean,
don't have
it's
that
not
type of
only
leadership.
that. It's not only that, but without even having um attained office, um, the things that the Progressive Empowerment Party is doing under arms, like the cut and things like that, is revolutionary, and a lot of it is like proof of concepts. The most recent is the housing program,
Mhm.
where they're going to be building up affordable houses and things like that. Doing all these things, creating job programs and creating opportunities for small entrepreneurs to get their goods out, and giving them direction in terms of how you get the best packaging and make your goods look appealing and stuff like that. This is things that should be happening under an umbrella of one of the ministries, but yet still, this is what the Progressive Empowerment Party is doing without even having office.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like the reason why we have the governments that we've had is because we have not cared about performance. We have not cared about merit. We have not cared about whether or not people earned even the right to have the audacity to say, I want to be prime minister.
And
We have
then
only cared that, well, this is what my family does, we always vote PNM, or this is what my family does, we always vote UNC, or I like he or I like she. And that's how we make our decisions. And it's
yeah,
no wonder we have gone nowhere.
I vote in because this person look like me, or I like how Rowley does talk, so I will
Yeah.
vote for him.
People
But
is
he
the
has
person
no
that
track record of
I like
completing
him too
anything.
bad. Yeah, I like him too bad. And people literally get excited for elections just to hear about what Mark Bussin, right? What Kamala say about Rowley, what Rowley say about Kamala. And if Kamala says something, God forbid, then people finding a reason to call her a racist and to say, well, we can't vote for her because of whatever. And nobody up to now has spoken about policy. I am voting for this party because they have the best plan, the best 5-year plan to improve water, to improve education, to create jobs.
But not
Nobody
only that,
talks about
eh?
these things.
People, the nonsense that has come out of Kid Rowley mouth. No, you notice people don't go at him as how they just go at UNC.
No,
Like
it's true.
he talk about Kamala cat, he talk about how she drunk, how all kind of thing, and people laugh, cat, like that's something to laugh at. When it is a disrespectful, disgusting, nasty thing. So imagine what he just be telling Sharon.
I mean, Sharon make Sharon make her choice. Um, and my whole thing is, at the end of the day, some things are just words. This is not to condone anything, eh? At the end of the day, some things are just words. And I would not care what either of them say, what Kamala say or if Rowley said, if they had some type of track record that I could say, yeah, she was a great prime minister and this is what she did and this is what she was able to achieve, or yeah, he is an excellent prime minister. I mean, he practices social listening, he listens to the people, he really cares about improving the quality of life for a certain demographic or people, or you can't say that. You can't say that. And
All
I
we have a
sometimes
track
feel like,
record of is corruption, misappropriation of public funds, mismanagement, and cover-ups. That's what it is. Because everybody who do wrong, he doesn't get rid of them. He just, comes out and grand charge with his bulldog attitude, and the media, which is a waste of time, just rolls over and plays dead when he says anything instead of asking, despite you being angry, Prime Minister, what is your opinion on this? And it's like,
yeah.
if I was in the media, I would do things to provoke the living daylight out of
Oh,
that man.
yeah, or what really happened. Like I was livid the other day thinking about the fact that our media literally just regurgitates the nonsense that people say and it goes unchallenged.
Yeah.
Case in point, Terence Yalsing said that there are cases of people who died in the hospital after using ivermectin. And I
And
was
he has
like,
no
so
proof of it, no evidence.
nobody in the media said, Mr. Minister, do you have any data? Can you point us to any specific cases of people who died? Nothing. And he just gets to say that nonsense unchallenged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Um,
know.
Kern
What do you
Herrera is asking a question about if Philip was in office, if he would continue the narrative of the vaccine, if the vaccines work and still promote it, or would he find some way to stop the flow of giving the vaccines? Philip is all about pro-choice. If you want to take your vaccine, go ahead. Forcing people to take it is not part of our agenda at all.
Yeah.
It is all about choice. You want to take your thing, no problem. But don't force the rest of the people who don't want it.
Yeah.
You saw the chart with the all the amount of national security officers who don't want to take this vaccine, and you come in with your mandate to force the people to take it. You see almost
Yeah.
every day a police officer dropping dead.
But not only national security, frontline workers, nurses and stuff, they don't want to take it either.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we ask the question, if your vaccine is so good, shouldn't the people on the front lines who
Rush to
seeing the
take it.
effects of it, shouldn't they be the first one to line up to take it? What are they seeing that we are not, that they refuse to take it, that they rather starve and lose their bread and butter?
Which, by the way, is not going to make any sense at all, because let's say they decide, all right, we're going to get rid of all the nurses, which we know is impossible, absolutely impossible. Who you're going to come to your rescue now? Who you going to get tin a biscuit to? Right?
Well, Terence said over Christmas that the 100 nurses that left was not a problem because they have 768 new nurses being trained or whatnot. And we were like, Felicia and I were talking about it, and he's like, but he is such a stupid, foolish man because you are losing 100 nurses with experience,
Yeah.
with knowledge, with know-how and whatnot, and you want to throw 768 newbies into the fray in the
And
height of a pandemic.
isn't it foreign nurses too? Then he said we were getting a
I think
batch of
I think
foreigners.
some of them were from Cuba, if I'm not
Right. So with
mistaken.
that, you already have the language barrier there where they may not be in tune with when somebody's saying, I got a pain here.
It is true.
Right. So these
It
people
is
have to get
true.
acclimatized to how we speak, how we describe things, and our local, colloquial terms.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't make sense. What he was supposed to do was beg those nurses, all right, I'll pay all you. We will organize. I will write the Minister of Finance. Come, let's sort out these nurses. We can't afford to lose them. So let's
Yeah.
look at settling negotiations for PSA.
Yeah.
Again, we had to
But
settle
it's
them.
like you say, I mean, this government have some balls on them because you are threatening people with their livelihood. And you're not even talking about salary negotiations going way back to 20, it's 13 or
13,
11,
2013.
2013.
Mm-hmm. And
You
what
have
is
the
that?
gall and the
All your
audacity.
frontline workers, all your frontline workers who at risk are the ones you playing the fool with. And it starts when you come off the plane because airports authority is one. Then you have immigration, you
Yeah,
have customs, right?
yeah.
You have your nurses, your doctors, your
National
orderlies,
security.
your daily rated workers in the
Yes,
hospital. You have your public health crews, which is your daily rated operators. You have your um, public health officers, right? You have all those people. Yeah. Then
yeah.
you have your clerks who's supposed to be pushing paperwork, writing up people's filing it away, blah, blah, blah. You have those people who are at risk too. Come now, man, what it is all you doing? This is why I did that video because I said, you want to touch people that you're owing. That come like, I owing you harasser. And instead of me pay you, I come in to threaten you. And
Yeah,
I you. That's nonsense. You're owing people, pay
yeah,
the people their money. All right,
yeah,
money tight or whatever the case is. But it have things that you could do to still have negotiations. You could
yeah.
set up some sort of bonds with your public servants from the so if you don't have the money for the back pay,
It's
you
true.
could give them some sort of policy where right when you reach age in 10 years you'll be able to claim this amount
Yeah.
bond that we put in place for
Nothing,
public
nothing,
servants.
nothing,
And it's
nothing,
police,
nothing.
fire,
Yeah, it's so many. It is so
regular public
many.
servants. It is
Yeah.
plenty of people and you are just piling on the money. 2013, so that's one negotiation period, which is 14, 15, 16. That is one. Then 17, 18, 19. That is two. 20, 21, and we are in the third year of the third negotiating period that they have not dealt with.
Nothing. Yeah. Yeah.
Coleman Burt is playing the fool. You're getting money from all over the world for COVID. You telling me out of some of that money, all you can't settle negotiations, even
Yeah.
if you settle it for 2 periods,
It's true.
and you bring the salaries
True.
up to date. You get these nurses, these police officers, these fire officers, prison officers, some sort of motivation to keep going. Prison officers getting killed because of whatever madness the judicial system not doing and the corruption, right? Police officers dying because guess what? They're unhealthy. They don't eat properly. There's no incentive. Why it is all
Yeah.
you put gyms in every police station and get them mandatory hours for exercise. Hire
No.
dietitian and nutritionist so all them fat lazy ones can start to get up and
Mandatory,
start to
mandatory vaccines though. That's how much they care
right?
about us.
Put kitchens in some of the larger stations and tell them, okay, we hiring cooks, so or chefs, whichever one, or you have officers who are chefs, caterers, or whatever the case is, they could transfer into those positions and you cook. You create healthy meals, balanced meals, smoothies, parfaits, all these different things. So at any point in time, any police officer could come and clock in and say, look, I'm hungry. Give me a smoothie. Give me some bhaji rice or healthy, well balanced food. Let me get a salad with some grilled chicken or grilled fish at any point in time. This is what you're supposed to be pushing, healthier lifestyles. Why it is we're not doing that? All you're leaving police officers to go and buy such a greasy shit, right?
Yeah.
That unhealthy. They can't run from here to there. Obviously, they're going to get COVID. All these police stations too have air condition. No, none of them no longer have high ceilings with fresh breeze passing through.
Lemma, if there's one thing that the pandemic highlighted in our country is the fact that as a whole, we as a people and our government to a large extent does not prioritize health in any form. Physical health, mental health, psychological health. We don't prioritize health at all because when our prime minister should have been moving towards consultations to see what could be done to make sure that we could get people out in the fresh air sooner, to make sure that people could go back to the gyms and at least exercise, and make sure that there were things put in place to help people who started to feel the toll and the weight of the pandemic in terms of their mental health, and things like that. He had no concern for the fact that he locked down our country for however long.
Mm-hmm. Remember, we
None.
also discussed too where they should have had, the little pop-up clinics and roving therapeutic clinics where you would pass and go in an area and talk to people. You pull up on City
Yeah,
Gate, Independence Square, Broadway, San Fernando, all the major cities, and you hand out flyers how to deal with stress, how to deal with
yeah,
certain things.
yeah,
Okay, so you lost your job, fine. This is the social development tent here. Come get some application forms for some sort of program the government should have to assist people who down and out,
yeah,
as well as help them look for new jobs. That is
yeah.
what social development is supposed to be doing.
Those
This
things were
whole
not highlighted
hard
at
thing.
all. Yeah, that those things were not talked about at all. Terrence Yeltsing um did not talk about the uptick in domestic violence, the fact that people were under so much stress financially and mentally that there was an uptick in, spousal abuse and things like that. Didn't talk about the uptick in suicides or anything like that because
Talking
people
about
lost
the
their job
stress on the
and things
children.
like that. What he talked about the other day, and I felt so sad, is that he was happy to report that there was an uptick in the amount of public servants lining up to go and take the jab. And I was like, but you see how all you're cruel, because everybody know that that is being done under duress. People don't want to go and take that vaccine. People now scared for the only thing now that they have, right, to
Mhm.
keep their lives going,
And
which
people
is the
should
meager
not
salary
take
that they
it.
pay them.
Exactly. And you're still owing the people. But if you don't want to take the vaccine, by all means, do not take it. All the public service associations, prisons, police, fire, everybody come out with why and which legislation to roll with if they're trying to force you. And they all against these vaccine mandates.
Yeah.
So if
I
your
mean,
association already tell you that, why
yeah,
you rushing to take it if you don't
it
want
is
it?
true.
You already
Because
have your backup and your support there.
no,
Stand
I
your
don't
ground.
know. I don't know, but we
Canadians
are
have
such
no
a
belly.
cowardly, yes, spineless people and whatnot, but it's a lot of fear motivating people.
Mhm.
And they are not even looking at that because the whole fake vaccination card thing, I don't condone it, but I totally understand it. And people in this card go over season willing to shell out up to $30,000 to get a fake vaccination card to say that they're vaccinated so that they don't have to go and put this thing in their arm. That
Yeah,
is,
I mean,
this is what you are driving people to do so
yeah.
that they can hold on to their livelihoods.
And the thing about it is, though, for public servants, you show up to work, they tell you go back home, record it.
Yeah.
they have a visitor logbook. You sign that book. If they don't want you to sign your regular attendance book, you sign the visitor logbook.
Yeah, so
Time
that they know you was there
that you were
at
there,
8 o'clock to
take a
report for
picture
duty.
of
Yes.
your signature in the book. That
Yeah.
is all you have to do and start building your case. That is
Yeah. I mean, but
all.
a lot of the unions are advising their people to do that. They say show up for work, show up for
Show up
work.
here. Let them
And
know.
we even had a small victory in that Republic Bank has pulled back their move to mandate or to was it a mandate or to
Yes,
fire unvaccinated workers?
some foolishness like that. Republic Bank playing mad. They want people to withdraw their money the same speed they're trying that
So
foolishness
we
with.
had a small victory there, and it really just goes to show. I mean, if you just stand your ground, and
I
if we
think
continue
MTS
to push
workers as
back,
well, they stopped with the
yeah, we continue to
mandate.
push back, and this government will have no choice but to literally get in their section because they overbearing now. I am so tired of them behaving like if I was like, but what is this? This is a kingdom. They are lords and kings and ladies over us,
And the thing
and
about it
everything
is,
is by decree.
the vaccine does not stop COVID. It does not say, right, if you vaccinate 100% of your people, that it will just disappear. It's
Yeah,
not, because vaccinated people are getting COVID. They're getting all the variants.
yeah,
So why push this mandate, force this mandate when you don't even have the proper thing? You should know, if we had a sensible government, was the time to pause and collect data and watch what's happening, because there are countries all over the world who forcing the mandate. Look at Israel. Israel in a hot mess, right?
yeah.
80% vaccinated and they on their fourth booster, and how much variants? Cyprus just come out with the Delta Cron or some kind of thing like that. Just now make
Qatar as
it
well, highly vaccinated, and the people who are ending up in the hospital in the ICU are actually people with their first boost.
Yeah, yeah, yes,
You
right?
know,
So, and you're seeing that all over the world. I was listening to a doctor's video on WhatsApp, where he said the people coming in ICU are fully vaccinated. The English Prime Minister said so. He said, "Go and get your third booster, because the people who are coming into the ICU are people who only double dosed. So go get your
yeah,
third one." So apparently, your third one going to stop you from going
yeah,
into ICU. If
yeah,
narrative has changed, because for the UK it's no longer the unvaccinated. It's now, oh,
yeah.
you're just double dose. You need to get your third
they
one.
could they couldn't continue with that, and not even Terrence, or even in our local conversation, that you're hearing that nonsense anymore. It is no longer, well, they try to make it a pandemic of the
Unvaccinated.
unvaccinated. It's no longer that. And I mean, little by little the truth is going to have to start to ooze out, because I see CNC3 had no choice but to report that there were 19 deaths, COVID deaths, whatever, but they had to report that 13 of those deaths were persons who had comorbidities. They had to say, you understand?
Mhm.
And we have been saying that if you are young, if you are healthy, if you don't have any underlying or pre existing conditions, you do not have to worry about
But the
COVID.
thing about it though, we have such an unhealthy eating habit in this country. You could be physically looking okay, but you have some underlying issue that you still don't know about, that has
Very
not
true.
shown its true side
Very
as
true.
yet.
Very
So
true.
this is
I
why I
mean,
get
Lemon,
angry, and we have to go back to the Ministry of Agriculture and Sports, where they're not pushing healthier lifestyles.
no, they're not. No, they're not. But I honestly believe that our situation didn't have to be so bad, because when the 31st of January 2021, was it? 2020? Was it 2020? Yeah, when they declared in Trinidad that this is a global pandemic and whatnot, it would have devastating effects on our already overburdened health sector.
We
The
said that.
reason why,
They
yes,
never said that.
The reason why so many people are dying is exactly that. We have piss poor healthcare in our country. And
And
they
you know
want
how
to try and
bad it
say
is?
is unvaccinated people, and they want to try and say is because of COVID that the hospitals are bursting at its seams and it's overburdened. And everybody knows that this was a problem before.
Before.
You
Yeah,
couldn't get an ambulance to come, you couldn't get a bed, right? And you had to wait 15 hours to see somebody.
yeah, exactly.
That is why people are dying.
And on top of that, I posted it. When you get COVID or symptoms and you are going to the hospital and they put you under these tents, you are going to get more sick under those tents because you are out in the elements. There's no heater there to keep you warm. You don't get blankets in the hospital. It's a thin sheet, right? So chances are you will get pneumonia and you will get some other kind of shit under those tents before you get your COVID results or whatever medical results you are waiting on, and then transferred to whatever hospital.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
itself killing our own people with that lack
Yeah.
of thought, lack of, and I don't understand. Again, it comes back down to Terrence being a complete jackass and not understanding how it is me. I don't have a medical degree. I'm not a pharmacist. I'm not a nurse. Nothing, right? But I could sit down and see that. Okay, but these past couple nights have been very cold, and you have people under tents. Some of those tents were waterlogged because rain fell, and remember the water pool underneath, and somebody showed you the
Yep.
video of it. So how many of those patients at that particular point in time got pneumonia or some bad cold on top of waiting for COVID results,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we know that. We know nothing runs properly in this country. Which brings me to something else that I wanted to talk about is that the Ministry of Social Development have put a stop on the food support program.
And didn't she restart it after people made a fuss about it or some kind of thing?
Yes, but they're looking into it to restart it. But she said that they had to do so because there were irregularities and some people were getting food cards to the value of $6,000, and some people who were not deserving of it were getting it. And I was like, why is Donna Cox pretending like if this is all new? And aren't you installed in that position to actually fix these irregularities, to
Yeah, but
make sure that your
in
social development
irregularity, you
programs actually help the people that they're supposed to help? Why it is we can't do anything in this country, Lemma?
because it's PNM. But again, this whole food card thing starts under PNM. So all that corruption and thing is it PNM who did it, and therefore is them who doing that foolishness.
It's
You
their friends and families getting through.
exactly. So what irregularities you she talking about? Go through the system. But again, if they did things properly, you're supposed to have a database with red flags. You will get an increase in people applying for it because you're killing out people with jobs. There's no way to apply for a job now without getting these, are you vaccinated? Unvaccinated. Then you're sending home people for that. All your closed down Petrogen. So since all your closed down Petrogen, there were so many people on the bread line from that. Then you shut down the country, you locked down. So people went out of business, they lost jobs, etc. Obviously, there's going to be a high influx of people applying these things.
Yeah,
This is reality. So you were
yeah,
supposed to take all those things into consideration. Then people not getting grants. If they're not getting grants, the next option is to apply for a food card.
exactly,
How these
exactly.
people so stupid?
And what annoys me is that they always use their incompetence, their inability to run a program properly and to execute it properly. They always use that as the reason to shut it down because they say some people being greedy, right? More
Yeah,
than one person have three food card and all kind of thing. And it's like you cannot blame the people. That is human nature. If there's an opportunity to take advantage of something, some people will do it. That is why you have to have checks and balances. If Marlon Rodriguez comes, you have to check your database, check his name, check it against his date of birth, check it against the ID that he would have submitted, check it against his address, and make sure that he's not already in the system as a recipient. I mean, it to me,
That
it's
is if they
so
even have all of those
simple. You
details
cannot
for people.
build a software to do that.
No,
You can't do that.
no, no. Come on.
Lima is the whole. I don't understand why these people are even in government. If you cannot solve any problem, National Flour Mill said that they have no choice, right, but to raise the price of flour, right, because of all the external costs that they have no control over. Okay, fine. But how long National Flour Mills producing flour in our country? And then you read the article and it says 64% of the materials and the ingredients that they use to make our flour is
Imported.
imported. And I'm like, so we cannot figure out how to produce flour on our own from start to finish to make
Yeah,
sure it gets on our table the cheapest. We
yeah.
cannot figure out a way to produce the basics: rice, flour, oil, sugar, whatever. We have to bring in all these things.
No, we could. I am on a farmers group and I saw a farmer saying how we could grow local wheat and do all these things. However, he's a poor man. So we can't study what the poor man saying or what he could do. We have to
Yeah.
only focus on what hardcore want and what our 1% importers need to bring it in this country.
And this is
Because
exactly why we
how
need to get
our
rid of
country
them.
how this country going to function if we let poor people decide what they need and what we want them to do? How dare our government give our people that opportunity to grow wheat so that NFM don't have to import through our 1%? Our Syrian brothers and sisters who need to crack that whip on us
Yeah.
and then watch the foolishness, eh? Because people will jump on board. Yeah, well, we, under Kamla, we had a better. But guess what? NFM doing that shit. How much years now? 60, how much years? Kamla was in office for 5 years and Pandey 5 years. Any of them do anything to grow wheat and do anything locally? Cut down on the food
No.
import bill?
Yeah, but then they say, okay, so National Flour Mills was supposed to raise their prices up to what? I think how much? 15% or something like that. And they say the government intervene and they're not going to raise it by so much, they're going to raise it by 9% or something like that. I can't remember it. But my whole thing is,
And then they were saying some
why
other
isn't
brand is a 1%
yeah, I
finance.
say the intervention still results in a raise in the cost of a basic food, right? A basic ingredient that we need to make food. Because people now starting to say they're gonna buy their flour so that they don't have to take on kiss and their nonsense or any of the people making bread, because bread has become so expensive. So now people say they're feeling like you're getting a bit of relief now because you're buying your flour to make it and then the flour raise. And I was like, why the intervention did not come in the cost of the Minister of Health and the Minister of Agriculture or whatever coming together to say we are going to figure out how we could get flour on the table cheaper, and we are going to be engaging all our farmers and whatnot and whatnot and whatnot. The same thing, this is what I'm saying, because in Tobago, I can't remember her name, but the girl in THA, now under PDP, she's saying that Tobagonians now are going to figure out how to make alternatives to flour. She's talking about cassava flour and whatnot. And I was like, but this is what we need. Why didn't we get that type of response here in Trinidad? Somebody's saying we're going to be looking at alternatives, or we are going to find a way to get flour, white flour or wheat flour or whatever on the tables cheaper. Why do we have these people there if they are not bringing any solutions?
Well, the base have to understand that and figure out why, but they probably don't eat flour. right?
Yeah, it's true. Because I see
But
so much people.
now,
I see so much people say that, well, let them raise whatever, because I stop eat flour kind of nonsense, right? And I see you have to put some people in their place talking about the doubles vendors, giving them such a hard time. And I
yeah,
was like, but everybody on the double vendors case, right? But nobody, you hear one person quarrel about the price of carib. Carib
no.
just say they're raising the price of beer. Nobody say nothing.
But not only that, Tarasa, all these things going up because of international things, right? Let's be honest about that. Everything
Yeah,
internationally
I've
will
acknowledged
affect us
that.
because we import every goddamn thing, right?
Right. That's what
But
I'm saying.
mind you, Faris rental agreement check ain't late, his salary ain't late, and all the other people who collecting money for rent, for contractor this, or whatever thing, corrupt conflict of interest deals,
Yeah.
right? Still getting their monies. But we are being forced to handle the end on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
And looking to
I did
price
another
down
video on
doubles.
that. And a girl said, but we don't have no control over that. I sure you have money to buy doubles though. So I wanted to like fly off the handle. It's like if I didn't have control, I was mashing up my phone. I told her, I was like, your control is your vote. If you
Yeah.
don't vote for that shit, you wouldn't get that shit.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That is the control.
Yeah.
Faris is doing foolishness, but they keep putting him back there. So obviously, he gonna get more money.
It's true. Yeah.
And then all
Yeah.
they want to talk about, oh, let's boycott carb, let's boycott kiss, boycott doubles.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, boycott doubles and let them come and rub all your ass too. That's what
No,
they want.
it's not that, because we will get to the point where what? We go in and boycott everybody, right? And then your underwear going to have hole in it because you ain't buying from Detour, or you ain't buying from Ratans or whoever, because
Whatever.
you're boycotting, right? And you get skinny, skinny, skinny because you ain't buying nothing, you're not eating. And nobody recognizing that that is not the solution. It might be a short-term solution, because I was so disappointed in Kiss, who seemed like if they were all so happy to justify raising their prices back again.
Yeah.
But people
And
have
the
to
thing about
realize
this,
there
yeah,
are
they also said
consequences to your vote.
chicken is also going to raise,
Yeah, by 4%.
right? So that means what? KFC gonna raise again? Royal Castle?
Oh yeah, yeah, and they tell it with a straight face. Even though the 4% might actually translate to an increase in cost for a box of chicken by 20 cents or something. So it might be something minimal, and they just say, well, we can't absorb that cost, but they're not going and raise it by 20 cents. They're going and raise it by $2. That's what happens in our country,
Yeah.
right? So
Or they don't
even
even
when you
tell you,
say you
know,
could justify the raise, right?
yeah,
They still had to rape you.
yeah. Because you will go and you will line up and you'll realize, but wait, uh, when I was going to school, a cruncher used to be $18.50.
I
Cruncher
remember
combo.
it was $11 for the sandwich alone, because my mom used to buy that for me.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
Yeah,
18.50 was the combo, the fries and the drink. Now that same combo is $37.
twice the price. Yeah,
And the sandwich didn't get bigger. The
no,
chicken didn't get bigger. You ain't
no,
getting more lettuce, you know? It don't look anything like on the poster,
it
nothing.
doesn't. It doesn't.
Right? And then chicken going up. So the little thing here, piece of chicken here is getting them sandwich. You're gonna pay what, $40 for a cruncher?
Yep, we need to
Oh.
stop it.
And at
And we-
Ramdwar, you don't need to be on this life if you don't like it.
what Annette's saying.
I don't know. She's one of them old people with mind your language, this, that, the other. Oh God. Well then go on, I don't know, go by the rum shop or go by the grocery and listen to some gossip or whatever. Yes, the cruncher is smaller. Somebody showed a picture the other day with the zinger, and I was like, wow, that actually looked nice. And then when I looked properly, the bread had mold on it.
Oh wow.
The bread had mold on it.
Wow. Oh wow. The thing about it is we're really being um backed into a corner because every single move that we have made to try and protect ourselves from everything that is going on with the pandemic, people say, okay, I'm not going and buy food outside, so I will buy my thing and I'll make my fries home and I will make my fried chicken home and whatever, whatever, whatever. Even those things, it is becoming more and more difficult to do, right?
Yeah.
So we have to move away from this. Is almost like a sense of denial. Like if you could protect yourself indefinitely
But what is
from
the
the
purpose of Bureau of
inevitable
Standards?
of poor governance.
What is the purpose of Bureau of Standards?
Um, to make sure that the people who work there get a salary, but not to make sure that they are actually
Standards.
standard. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah,
So, and again, it come back down to all these state boards are just there to collect salaries and they ain't doing what they're supposed to do. Yes, Brian, we heard about the protests on the Pitam. We raised it earlier. Guys, remember, if you're heading down, be careful, listen to all the news pages to see how that protest is going. I heard it's for water. I'm not sure what it is for, but be careful. Um, but yeah. But the thing about it is, though, before NFM and all these other places started saying, well, we have to increase, you saw increases in the products in the supermarket because the
yeah.
oil prices went up. Doubles vendors said they used to pay what $200 for the keg and it went up by to five something or six something like that. The price of chana went up and all these different things. So and then when you go to the supermarket from since what October to December there every week you went you saw a different price for the same things you bought.
For the same thing. Yeah, yeah. Without fail, without fail. And I am saying that, I mean, at every level, we have to get uncomfortable because even the supermarkets association, the grocery owners and whatnot, they at some point have to say, but this is not right. This is not right. Whatever the issues are, that if it's at customs or whatever, are you telling me that the government cannot do absolutely nothing? They can't do anything, even if it is to provide temporary subsidies in while the pandemic is going on. Nothing that they can do to make sure that people who have been displaced, who have lost their jobs, their homes, their income, could continue to provide for their families.
Of course, there are things they could
Nobody,
do. Of course, there's
nobody is
things,
going to do
but they
anything
don't
about it.
want to. They don't want to. They don't want to. And that is where we are. They just don't want to. Look how many things we spoke about earlier that they could do. They just don't want to. What we suggested is not nothing new, it's not rocket science. That's
Yeah,
basic things. We understand because we are on the ground, so we feel it. But when you earning a salary 40,000 plus perks, plus allowances, plus tax-free breaks, right? And you going home with let's say 50,000 in your bank account, you're not on the same level with me who working for $6,000 a month and had a juggle. Should I pay this bill or should I buy food? They're not on the same level with us, and that goes for the opposition as well. Because whether she have the power or she come with some other irrelevant no confidence motion, she's still going home with her full salary, untouched, all the perks, security detail, and all.
yeah. I mean, one of the things I like that Philip says under Progressive Empowerment Party government is that if you're in the government, you're not entitled to no blue lights. You had to use the public hospitals. You ain't getting no bus route pass and whatnot. And it's not to be unreasonable or unfair, But the whole idea is that the reason why nothing is fixed in this country is because the people who we put there to fix it and improve it and to manage our country, they don't get to feel how stressful it is to sit down in a pointless traffic. They don't get to feel what it is like to sit down in a waiting room with a loved one who is severely injured or having problems breathing or is complaining of chest pains and wait 15 hours for a doctor. And if they see a doctor, not get a bed, or if you get one, is a piss soaked bed, they don't get to feel
No,
the effects of their poor governance. They don't.
no, they don't. They don't understand any of those things. They don't understand what it is to go in the supermarket with a calculator on your phone and you're checking everything. They don't understand that because they don't care for those things. They could go, they don't shop in the groceries we shop in, where there are supermarkets that have some people wouldn't dare to go in because they know the
Yeah,
price is expensive. We have to go pay less,
yeah,
or look in the Chinese supermarket, or you had
yeah,
to hit extra foods with the 20 plenty for 20, or Price Club
yeah,
when they have in the packages. That's what you have to do.
yeah.
They don't.
To eke out every cent from your dollar. And it should not even be us versus them or whatnot. I just feel like whether or not you're a government minister and you're making 50,000 a month or whatnot, that should not mean that you can't do your job, that you're so
Exactly.
detached. That should not mean that. It's supposed to be that you have a mandate.
No, but
You
then
have
that's our
you
problem
have
there, Hadassah.
measures and targets, and you are being held accountable by the prime minister himself, who requires to see quarterly or biannually or yearly report on your progress in terms of food production if you are the minister of agriculture, and are reducing the price of food and things like that. What I don't understand what you making $50,000 had to do with the fact that you just don't do your job.
And the thing is that it stems from the point that we keep electing people who not even in our category before they went into politics. Stuart looked like he even knew Belmont before he get into politics. He knew what it was to catch ass, to juggle paying bills and buying food. Clarence, Terrence, Faris, they even know what inside of our public hospital look like. Inside maternity ward, the
Yeah.
grounds of the public hospital.
For them to say, same people who don't use it, if they're sick or if their family's sick, for them to say and insult us and tell us that we have the best
Healthcare.
healthcare in the
Yeah,
world. Mind blowing. Mind blowing.
yeah.
I mean, but I see Farley doing some good work in Tobago.
Yes, he is.
Um,
Excellent.
I really like his response to everyday problems. And one of the first things that they came out of their retreat and they said one of the first things he's going to do is give contract workers an extension of 3 years. And he
Mm.
said this is to alleviate some of the anxiety that they would be feeling.
Yeah.
And during those three
The
years, of
death
course, they're
nurses.
going to be working to make them permanent and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And he said it is not right that you could be a contract worker for 20 years without any benefits, health, or
Yeah.
anything like that. And it's time to give people a sense of security, and that
Yeah.
they have something to show for their years of work and service. So I
Yeah. They're
like
going to
where his head is at. Yeah.
potholes. They're geotagging these potholes so they would know where they're going to fix it. He spoke about what else? He spoke about changing the dress code for going in these offices. Remember, they still have that colonial style, like in Trinidad, where you can't go in sleeveless, you can't go in short pants, and it's like,
Nonsense.
oh gosh, what shit is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to do
Yeah.
that locally here too.
Yeah.
And but then
Mhm.
PNM not going to do that because it will be
Yeah.
like, oh, so that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah, but we're not going to do that to make PDP feel that they're doing it good
Yeah.
and we're to copy
Yeah.
them. Instead of be
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. We'll do that here too.
Yeah, right. Because you're not entitled to getting served by the people who you elected and the people whose salaries you're paying unless you are dressed a certain way. And there's a lot of nonsense, a lot of restrictive, oppressive things that we live under that we take for granted, eh? But that said, I wanted to mention PDP because it really gives me a sense of hope. And while we are still struggling in Trinidad here, um, I still feel hopeful because I believe that somehow the PDP effect would roll over into Trinidad, and that we will start to think like Tobagonians in terms of wanting better and becoming so fed up with the status quo and the way things are, and coming to a point where we recognize that what we have settled for and the mediocre, I can't even call it mediocre, it's worse than that, the mediocre governance um, that is foisted upon us, we could do so much better. We start to ask the question, is Keith Rowley really the best among us? Is Faris Alrari and Fitzgerald Hines, these really are the best and brightest and fittest and most qualified among us?
And people also have to understand too that it's not just the individuals, it's the cult itself, the party itself. Because
Yeah,
their mandate hasn't changed. They have not changed anything structurally in the party itself. This is how they are. So even if
yeah,
they wanted to do something, they still wouldn't get the opportunity to do it. You think they don't know what they're doing is wrong? They know, but they just can't go against the owners of that party, which is the 1%. And it goes the same for the UNC. They can't go
yeah,
against.
yeah.
And that is what people need to understand. Whether they change Rowley or not and they put some other sheep there, it is going to be the same thing. They're not going to change anything.
It's not going to get better.
Saying, if they put Penelope Beckles, and I'm saying no, she's not going to do anything different because guess what? She's sitting on her ass right now and watching the foolishness. She's not saying anything. She's an accomplice. So she's quite okay with us suffering now and all of a sudden going to change it if she gets into the office. No, she's going to do the same foolishness.
Yeah,
Because she's
yeah.
HGC, she's in charge of housing, and look how she distributing houses.
Yeah, and I talked about it. The fact that there are 180,000 people who have applications for affordable housing at HGC. And the last time they gave out houses, it was 22 houses. And I asked the question, how does this really put a dent in
That
the
number.
whole need
Yeah.
for people wanting houses? And how does this actually contribute to your long-term plan for housing, if you even have a long-term plan?
No, they don't, because guess what? You were supposed to, when you assume that role, you were supposed to go into the system, you pull up all the old files, and you start getting your clerks to call all those people from way back when, if they're still interested, if they're still alive, etc. And you start going through there, and you put a new list from this day forward.
It is exactly, and all the houses that were built under different regimes that were left to be abandoned and overrun with grass and moss and whatnot. You have to check and see how many of them are still viable, which ones of them have to probably be knocked down and rebuilt, and you
No,
start
no, and it's
there.
not even a matter of they could do that. You know what they could do? You could simply, this is where HGC could change their scope now and say, right, so you, and yes, you need a house, but you're not in a rush to move in. Fine, people like that could get the the ones where you could fix, the fixer-uppers.
Yeah.
So you're in a street and the house is saying, fine, we'll give it to you, dog cheap. You fix it up yourself. These are the standards. These are the codes. These are the
It's
HDC
true.
approved contractors or builders, carpenters, masons, etc. And you do it according to the people in your
Yeah.
area, the
Yeah.
area you say. That's what they could do. And you give people that option and you say,
Yeah.
right, take this to more mortgage finance and they will give you
Yeah.
so carry this letter, this document, blah blah blah, and they will hook you up.
Yeah.
That's what you could do. So you don't. So you take the burden off of HDC there, where
It's
you don't
true.
have anyone.
It's true. But that is where it should start. It should start with what they have, whether it is you give people the option to fix it up themselves or they do the upgrade themselves. But you cannot be building new projects. They're talking about building new projects. For what? For when PNM lose the next election, that those unfinished buildings just stay there and rot away?
Like the
Why
schools
can't
that UNC build that
yeah,
PNM need to rot right now. There's a
why can't
huge
we get
school in
something done?
PNL that they not using. And it's like, why are you not using this school? They have done build it already. It is a huge facility. Even if you take it and you transform it into another type of educational
Yeah.
facility, why you're not using it? It's like, what wrong with these people that is so spiteful and wicked?
It is spiteful, but more so to us because they're really showing us that they have no care whatsoever for our taxpayers' dollars.
Yeah,
And when they say they have no money, it is a lie.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. So yeah, it is. We have Trinidadians have to realize the same way how Tobagonians realize PNM is the blight on the country. We in Trinidad have to realize that our red and yellow is the blight in this country, and it's plain as day. You don't
yeah,
tell me, lesser of two evils. Evil is evil, whether it's less or more.
evil is evil. Yeah, it is true. It is true. And let us start talking about solutions. I mean, in an ideal world, it would be so great to say, I love my prime minister because he's charismatic and he's funny and whatnot. But he is not elected to be charismatic and funny. He's actually elected to do a job. So let us start to look at that and start to examine policies, start to ask questions about that. If you want to know more about the Progressive Empowerment Party's policies, you could go to peptt.com/policies and read upon it, especially our housing policy, which home ownership policy, which is the one of the main pillars of our plan for developing Trinidad and Tobago. Because it's very, very powerful because we really believe in countries where home ownership is high, crime, poverty, domestic violence, etc. is low, right? So yeah, let's start to look at that. Let's start to move away from personalities and start to look at who can actually get the job
Done.
done.
Yes. Well said. Well said. Guys, we are coming, yeah, well, we've gone over time actually. This is our program, and we start at 7, so we've gone over the time.
I
And this
mean, we
shows
need to
you
come to a
Mondays and Wednesdays.
consensus, eh? We need to ask the audience if they want an hour show, if we could do an hour and a half, because we have failed miserably at sticking to the hour.
So, yeah, yeah, we always go over. So you guys let us know. Ask any questions in the comment section what you want us to discuss or bring up or any kind of thing like that. Um, so join us again on Wednesday. So until then, have a good day. Remember the protest action on the beat. So be careful, be safe. I don't want to add more to that because people will be like, oh my God, you're stereotyping. So So be careful. Be safe. Bye.
If you want to help the people in the bottom, though, you should actually write to their MP about the water situation. Don't be afraid. Let's see how we can stand up with them. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.